Hello guys and welcome back to The Apprentice, and today we're going to be talking about season 18 episode 2, all about mini cheesecakes. Now if you're asking me how much would I pay for a mini cheesecake, I'd probably say £1, because I can buy a nice cheesecake for £1 in Iceland and it's like a big cheesecake and it's fine, it's a cheesecake. There's only so much you can do with a cheesecake. So let's get into how the boys and girls managed to turn around some kind of mini cheesecake thing into thousands of pounds of revenue. So it was a 4 a.m. start to the day, and they were taken to the Royal Exchange in the centre of London. Alan Sugar basically went, "Yo, what's up? You guys need to be making mini cheesecakes today, selling them to the public, and then selling them to a corporate client as well." Now, interestingly, Phil decided to lead the boys team and Felicia decided to lead the girls team. And honestly, neither team was a particular disaster. Not as bad as last time when we had like crumble flavoured breadcrumbs instead of crumble instead of breadcrumbs, and we just had horrendous timing, cold food, and people had to leave early. This was actually a bit of a better task, and I felt like they approached it in better ways. They had better ideas, but from the get-go it was very, very clear that one team would win and the other team would fail to make as much money. So, without much further ado, let's take a look at the boys on day one. So, the important thing to note with this is that there are now 7 boys and 8 girls. So the boys are actually down 1 member. But that didn't stop them from kicking it up a gear, fighting back, and when it came to deciding sort of what was going to go into their cheesecakes, Trey was like, "I think we should do a savoury cheesecake." Bad idea. And then they decided on doing a chocolate flavoured something, which I thought was quite a good idea. They decided that they would set them bar at £8 per cheesecake, per like little cheesecake, for the corporate people. And I thought that was taking the piss, but I'll talk about that more when it comes to the girls later. But if people are willing to pay that much for a cheesecake, absolutely sell it for that much. Would I buy it at that price? Abso-fucking-lutely not. That is ridiculous. Come on. So yeah, they decided on a white chocolate with cranberries and popping candy as their sort of main cheesecake for the public. But when it came to the corporate side of things got a little bit awkward when they were trying to negotiate. Paul B came in and was like, "Yo, we're a chocolate company," and he was trying to sell a chocolate cheesecake to Innocent. Now, if you don't know who Innocent are, they are the smoothie people, the very, very notoriously healthy company that prides people on getting them to eat, or prides themselves on getting people to eat their 5 a day. And so tell me why Paul B was like, "Yeah, well, we all love a little treat sometimes, don't we?" And they went, "No, it's got to be fruit and vegetable cheesecake. I'm sorry, it has to be." And so they were like, "Fuck." And then when it came to selling a price, they started at £9. And then the company were like, "Nah, £5.50 per cheesecake." And then immediately Phil was like, £6.50. I think they ended up at £6.75. I don't know how they managed that. But it did just feel like they gave up on negotiations very, very quickly. And it kind of felt like Paul B was the reason why. It was really, really awkward. And it was pretty much a car crash. But on the whole, it wasn't horrendous. They came up with a dragon fruit, apricot, and avocado-filled cheesecake, which sounded odd. And yeah, it wasn't great, but it is what it is. Out of the 2 cheesecakes, the white chocolate one cost £1.20 per unit, and the apricot avocado dragon fruit one cost £2.40 per unit. And I think they were making like around 200 cheesecakes. So honestly, yeah, interesting choices for food, and definitely some odd negotiation tactics. But the boys were not off to a disastrous start, which was surprising. Guys, we've made it to 500 subs. It's time for 600 subs. Come on, let's keep that momentum building. You guys can do it. You guys are absolutely amazing, and I'm loving the support on the channel. You guys are making this so much better for me, and I really love engaging with all of you in the comment section, so make sure you keep doing that. As for the girls started by going, yeah, we're going to go Greenwich Market because it's got a lot of footfall. But then they were like, shit, that is quite far from where we're going to be making these things. So, like, maybe that could be a problem. And then they went, nah, sure, we'll just go there. When they went in to the corporate, they were pitching to the London Dungeon. And the London Dungeon were wanting to buy, I think, 50 cheesecakes from them or something. I can't remember exactly. And fortunately, Flo came in and was like, yo, £15 per cheesecake. I went, what? Huh? £15 for a cheesecake? For a little fucking mini thing. Not even like a big one. A little tiny one bite and it's gone cheesecake. You're taking the piss. And they went, we're looking more around the sort of the £10 mark. And then Flo was like, £13.50, you've got a deal. And they went, okay, but we are expecting high quality service. And the girls were like, no problem, we'll do it. If Flo was like, I've got to pay my staff, come on, £13.50, come on, you can do it. Flo, fantastic negotiator. I like, last episode was a bit of a dodgy one for Flo. This episode, I have a feeling she's going to make it quite far in this competition. She's got a good business head on her. She's very, very good under pressure when it comes to negotiating with clients. So I feel like she could actually be quite good. That remains to be seen whether that will continue. But as of now, pretty good. So the idea for the, what's it called? For the London Dungeon cheesecake was like a fig cheesecake, I think. Something along those lines with like red food colouring to make it look red. Bloody gory, and then the fig on top. It kind of, when they were like, oh, it looks like quite scary, I was like, yeah, actually it kind of does. It kind of does freak me out a little bit. Would I want to eat it? Probably not. I don't really like figs, but it's still a cool idea, I guess. As for the public cheesecake, they decided to go with mango mojito, and as soon as they said that, I think it was oh, what's her face? Oh, the one that I really like and is probably going to win the whole show if she doesn't fuck up. I can't remember her name. She's got big glasses. She's from Essex. I really like her. She came up mango mojito. I would eat the shit out of those cheesecakes. They sound beautiful. So yeah, on the whole, a good showing from the girls. Their mango mojito one came in at £1.10 per unit to make, and the fig one came in at £2 per unit to make as well. So honestly, comparatively, they are making a fuck ton more money from the corporate than the boys, and they're spending less than the boys. So already they've won the task. If they can, obviously, if they can keep the corporate that high, the boys have got no hope, absolutely no hope, and it was very, very clear. Very early on, they had no hope. So, making the cheesecakes turned out to be a tough time for both teams, but I'll start with the boys' team. Their bases, they just weren't efficient at making them. They didn't pat them down enough so that when they went into the oven, they were still crumbly. They didn't really have that tight cheesecake base that you're used to. When they got them out and they started making them, fuck me, they looked awful. Like, genuinely, I was looking at them like, you're taking them to a client and you're going to sell them. Yeah, good luck with that. And do you know what happened? they they ended up selling 70 of them for £352, which if my calculations are right, they sold some for 60, for £6, the others for £2. So 352 divided by 70 is only £5 each. So they actually ended up spending less than they were willing to spend, as in the corporate company, Innocent Movies. They ended up spending more than they were willing to spend in the first place because the quality was so shit. And then when it came to the public facing team, the guys who went out to like a food hall and started selling them, they fucked up the pricing structure once again. What's his face? Phil was like, yo, we should sell them £6, 2 for £10. And that got put on a board, and then they started selling them. And then Trey was like, guys, why are we selling them for £6 when we could be selling them for £7, £8, £9? Why have we got a 2 for 1 offer on? We're here to make money. If they're selling for £6, sell them for £6. Trey, honestly, you've gone up in my estimations. I have faith in you now. I think you're going to do all right. But, oh my goodness, it's so frustrating to watch them sell something for £6 when it could be sold for so much more. It was really, really, really tough to watch. But Trey was absolutely smashing the selling. And honestly, it just didn't seem like they were making that much money, which sucked, but is what it is. That's what you get for lowballing yourself, I guess. As for the girls, they started off trying to do some like black dye on pretzels thing, and then they worked out that the black dye stained your teeth, and then it was like, maybe not. That's not a good idea. Felicia was trying to be like, yo, let's make it part of the experience. It's turning your teeth black. And then they were like, not for a corporate do. Come on. Like, no. Come on. Be serious. So they made the cheesecakes. I gotta say, they didn't look horrible. They looked all right. And when they brought them to the corporate client, which was the London Dungeons, they both kind of commented on the fact that they didn't think it looked very appealing. But then they ate it and they were like, wow, okay, nice. This actually does taste quite good. And so they managed to end up selling the cheesecakes for £11 per cheesecake. Down from £13, they dropped to £8, then brought them up to £12.50, back down to 10, up to 11, because Flo's got to pay her staff, you know. Flo, twice in one day, or twice in 2 days, I guess, smashed the negotiations. She basically told the rest of her team to shut the fuck up, let her do it, and it worked. They managed to get £11 per cheesecake, which was double what the boys got from their corporate person. So, you know what? Worked out for them. As for the street selling team, they went to Greenwich Market. They had a fantastic time. Raj was absolutely fucking smashing it. She was amazing. I think that's her name. I wrote down Raj because that's what they said her name was, but I don't know. But she was smashing it. She was going around to everyone being like, yo, do you want these cheesecakes? I think they sold them for £7.50 at the public venue. And she was like, can I have a tip as well, please? Thank you. Can I be cheeky and ask for a tip? Oh, can I have a tip, please? Be cheeky, you know. Yeah, she was absolutely incredible and definitely an asset to her team. Honestly, the girls are wiping the floor with the competition. Well, with the boys, I guess. And I just don't think the boys can compete this series. They're really, really struggling to make it work. And I think it's just because they keep putting the wrong people in charge. Felicia was actually quite a good leader for the girls. And she did have some incredible ideas. So, big up. Okay, guys. When it comes to the boardroom, there were just a couple of points that I noticed from each team. Some good, some bad. Basically just feedback from Alan Sugar about what went wrong, what went right. For the boys, Ginger Phil, which is Phil B, tried to get Innocent to take the chocolate, which was a fucking stupid idea. Alan Sugar basically bollocked him for it. And Phil was like, do you know what? Absolutely my mistake. My bad. I shouldn't have done that. Try again next time and I'll be better. Apparently Innocent were not impressed at all with the cheesecakes, which kind of sucks. And apparently obviously they also missed the opportunity to put the public price up a little bit, which meant that they lost out on making more revenue. As for the girls, Alan Sugar commended Flo for her negotiation skills. She said absolutely amazing. He said we should have had you on Brexit. Absolutely incredible. Well done. But there was chaos in the kitchen, and the fact that they took so long to make the second batch of cheesecakes meant that they lost time selling to the public, which could have damaged their sales. So, on to some numbers now. The boys spent £422.15. They made £908 in sales, and that gave them a total profit of £485.85. The girls spent £408.45, so less. They managed to get £1,143 in sales, which gave them a profit of £734.58. So the girls won by a country mile, at least 250 quid. That is absolutely crazy. So it just goes to show, you mark your prices up a little bit, you have good negotiations with the corporate team. I don't know how Flo managed to get the London Dungeons to spend like £11 for 50 cheesecakes. That's crazy. £550 on cheesecakes. You're taking the piss. But on the whole, the girls' team did do good, and they did deserve to win the episode. As for the boys' team, well, it's time to look a bit deeper. After some deliberation in the boardroom between the whole team, Phil was asked, who you bringing back into the boardroom with you? And he said, Paul B and Asif. And Asif was like, oh, why? Tell me why now. And Lord Sugar was like, we'll talk about that later. I really don't like Asif. This has been the second episode in a row that he's made a cock of himself in the boardroom. And he's so entertaining, but also so frustrating to watch. And I was really rooting for him to go home, because he did annoy me in this episode. But why were each of them brought in there? Well, Paul B shouldn't have driven the chocolate for the innocent people. Phil said that the cheesecake was not bad, and was like, oh, he was overseeing the whole thing, so like it's all his fault technically, kind of. And then Asif, he made a comment to the innocent people when they were like, we're not sure about this cheesecake, and he went, well, it's an acquired taste. Just very demeaning, very belittling, not very nice to say that to a corporate client. Wouldn't get you any business, because it definitely put their back up and pissed them off a little bit. Yeah, honestly, all three of them kind of fucked up this episode. And Phil was like, no one said anything bad about me. And I was like, okay, there's not really like a strong defense for why you shouldn't be fired. Then Asif was laying the blame at Phil and Paul B's door. And then when Lord Sugar was like, who do you want to send home? He was like, double firing. Send them both home. I was like, And like, when I tell you, like, he's got this frantic energy about him, he's like, that's how I imagine his brain is working every single time he opens his mouth when he's under pressure, because the shit that comes out, I'm like. But unfortunately, Paul B was the one sent home. I was really upset. I really liked Paul B. I thought he was quite a cheeky chappy, quite funny, but he was a bit of a twat in this challenge. So, I don't know, swings and roundabouts. But that is all we have time for. Next week is a virtual escape room. I can't see that going very well, but we'll have to see how it goes. But in the meantime, thank you guys very, very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next episode of whatever I do. Thank you very much for watching. Keep on ranting, subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye now.